What is going on, guys? Cody McBroom here. We're at the Tailored Coaching Method HQ. Gonna get a training session in. Today we are doing max effort lower body. So I'm following somewhat of a conjugate method, a modified conjugate method program that's really working on strength and size, but within that there's some athletic based movements. So we will be doing some plyos, we'll be doing some heavy max lifting, we'll be throwing in some chains, high volume stuff at the end. And then there's separate days where I'm doing anaerobic and aerobic conditioning. There's days where I'm just power development. So it's a concurrent based program, which to me, it produces great results across the board, but most importantly, it's fun as hell. And that's the biggest thing with consistency. Right now, we're gonna start with box jumps. So we're going from a seated position. I like to do some ramp up sets here. So we're probably gonna go 4 to 5 sets. I'm gonna start with just body weight, getting to a high level box, and every single rep is from a dead stop. So I'm seated, jumping explosively. Landing is the key. A lot of people think of how high they can jump and they're trying to be explosive, but they land like shit. You wanna softly land on this because that shock, that absorption is key to injury prevention. Most importantly, step off the box. Never jump off the box. That's exactly how you get injured. So let's get into it.
They ain't gotta like it, they just gotta live with it. Got my money working, you know what I did with it. Take it to the field, treat it like a coin toss. Girl, I got it covered, I'm a Louis loincloth. But he ain't really with the gang, that's a fact. Had baby doing something strange for the snap. Ride around the county with her face in my lap. Keep it 101, this ain't the place for the cap. I ain't got the minutes for the who say.
I'm gonna get it.
About to take a quarter to the ball cap later. Texting Goofy double, I need all that.
There we go.
Making plays, call me head coach Davey. Eggplant emoji.
So we just got done doing our explosive work. This is kind of like your neural primer. It's a good way to prime your nervous system before doing anything else. So on a lower body day, we might be doing broad jumps or jump squats or something explosive on the lower extremities. On a upper body day, we might be doing a throw. We might do an explosive press, something to fire your nervous system in a similar movement pattern that's going to mimic the compound lift of the day, which today for us is the trap bar deadlift with accommodating resistance of change. So accommodating resistance is pretty simple. As you excel or go through the range of motion, it gets more difficult. So at your strongest point, you are lifting the most weight. This is a really good way to A, avoid having to pull too much weight straight from the floor, which could cause some low back issues. And then B, it's a good way to build strength on top of strength. So in this specific movement, what you'll see is we have the chains rigged up right in the middle. So what this does is as you lift, there's this load being on the floor is gonna make it really easy. But as I go up, more and more chains are coming off the floor and more chains are gonna be added to the load on the bar. And what that means is as I progress through the range of motion, it gets more and more difficult, making the lockout portion extremely hard. So it's a good way to safely build strength. And this works with bands as well as chains.
Look, wave, tapped in. Lately my life had a fast man, but it's ass plan. Fight for my life with the brass hands, and I still ball with a bad hand. Got an aerial point of view, but they'll never see the big picture through zoom lens. From the quicksand, make it push start, type of band's coupe with the tank plan. I'm back on my bender rolls for the kicks. They quick to give them 2 cents, but my circle tight like we glue hands. Like I don't believe in new friends. Trail light, I know the ice thin. I drop the song, get a few wins. I crave the comfort in my own skin. Really, I just wanna feel the world spin. If I check, watch me double that. I get it lit, I watch it bubble up. Remember opening for shows, no a show, but I pulled through, I muscled up. Not a label one, fuck with us. I spin the paper, let them know what's up. I figured I be really onto something, cause the jealous niggas give us something crazy. They hella shaky on that.
Felt good. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since I've done any axial loading. So a lot of single leg work, a lot of front loaded stuff, trying to avoid loading my spine. I had an issue with my lower back just a few weeks ago, squatting too heavy, going for a 1 rep max, rounded at the bottom, shifted my hips because I have knee surgery on the left side, horrible back pain all week. Took a couple more weeks to recover from that. This is week 1, kind of testing the waters. Part of the reason why we decided to use chains today to give me that accommodating resistance, and why we're doing a ramp up. So 5 ramp up sets and then stopping, not going to an absolute max, keeping a few in the tank. And it was hard, but it felt good. No back pain. Now we are going to put a bar on my back for the first time in a few weeks and do some front foot elevated split squats. We're in a strength block right now, so we have a lot of lower reps. This one we're going up to 6 to 8. I'm gonna go considerably heavy as my back will let me, but I always like to start with just the bar. I know I'm already warmed up. I already went through a full dynamic warm up. I already foam rolled, I already did mobility, I already deadlifted. But to me, if we use this ramp up technique where we get 1 or 2 warm up sets before every lift of the day, you're gonna feel so much better in that movement pattern. You're gonna be more efficient. You can feel things out, so my front foot is elevated. I wanna get comfortable with that and then stack plates and work up your load. Plus this adds some good volume, and that's gonna lead to more growth.
This face is the art, I won't save us. I thought the ground was for the breaking. Look like it's all overrated. Yeah, like it's all overrated. Like it's all overrated to me. Like it's all overrated to me. can't get no sleep. Living in the weeks. Life is bittersweet. I can't really.
Single leg movements are underrated for strength and for hypertrophy. You know, I'm a good example. I hurt my knee, and when I squat, especially once I get to a certain point, I start sitting into that right hip subconsciously. And my hip can take it, my body can take it for a while, but then you hit a certain point, no more. Last time we were working up, I think we were getting close to 350, and that was it. And that just took out my hip. But single leg movements are great because this is 135 pounds. If I do a single leg movement, I'm isolating that one leg. Not exactly, but that's close to 135 pounds isolated per leg. Whereas I put it on my back, you gotta split that in half between two legs. So I would have to lift 270 pounds equivalent stimulus on my quads. In theory, obviously that's not exactly how strength training works. There's a bigger neural demand when you put more load on the bar, and that's super beneficial. The point being is you can't just squat. You gotta do things like split squats, elevated split squats, front or back foot, single leg RDLs. Anything you can do to isolate the unilateral pattern, it'll remove imbalances, it'll work on stability, and it will build muscle.
Back on deck on my fly shit, really on my shit, pay some respect to my mindset, head blowing smoke, catch a contact, niggas really mad they can't stop us, back on the scene, young conscious, always been me.
Last set, finish at 155, which isn't super heavy for me, but I feel good with it, especially because I haven't put a bar on my back in a few weeks. It's a good way to test the waters, come back next week. I always recommend anytime we're doing a compound lift or a compound accessory lift, which is what I would consider this, it's still a heavy lift that you want to progressively overload. So I'm gonna do this next week and I'm gonna do it the week after. My goal is to add plates every single week because we want to progressively overload the movements. Sometimes constantly varied programming like circuits and CrossFit and stuff like that, which is great if you like that and you have fun with it, and that's the thing, it's fun. Problem is it doesn't enforce progressive overload because every week is a new stimulus, meaning every week there's a neural capacity and learning curve. I have to learn that movement again. Rather than I know this movement, now let's load it up. I'm learning this movement, this is week 1 of this block, and I'm gonna do this for 2 to 3 more weeks, and I'm gonna build on it.
I ain't really here for the gossip, nah. Blah, 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 yeah, I'm hot, bitch. Try to play me, but you tried it. Way too wavy, gotta ride it. Pull up on you, yeah, we sliding. Make our eyes roll when I slide in. Neck on wrist on shaman. Tell them say less, no comment. And we only here for the commas.
Ay, pull up and how about we slide and load it away on the side.
It's a low squat. All right, now we got double kettlebell front squat to a box, a low box. So we're gonna be breaking parallel, pausing slightly on the box. I always tell people when they do box squats, you wanna sit all the way to the box softly, but keep that tension. So I'm not plopping down. I wanna softly sit, pause, and come off that dead stop every single time. This is lower than I normally program. 2 reasons we're doing this. 1 is it's more of an isolation, accessory work, movement for me specifically. And 2, my coach is an asshole and he told me to pick the lowest box. So just like you guys, I have a coach too and he programs for me. Let's get it.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shitty, my bros raw. No breaks, we go. Throw shade, that's a no. Go high, go low. Like spinning in a 644. Cash money like 504. Ball like AD24. No sleep, need more. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
I literally feel that in my abs more than a sit-up, just being in a position where you have to brace. If you get anything from this video, you should do more front squats and more split squats.
You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
All right, we're gonna finish with some calf raises. When I was mainly training for aesthetic purposes, I actually never trained calves. Actually, I hate training calves. Calves are one of those things that you're either genetically gifted with them or you're not. So some of the people watching this will hate me when I say like my calves have always been big enough without doing anything at all. But it is great to improve your squat. So it's good for ankle strength and mobility, going through that full range of motion of plantar and dorsiflexion under load, and building your calves can support better sprints, it can support better squats, stuff like that. So right now, being that I'm more strength and performance driven, I actually added calf raises in, which is usually the opposite of most people. Usually people add them in for bodybuilding purposes, but for me, it's more about ankle mobility, strength in my calves and my knees, my ankles, so I can squat heavier in the forward session. So we're going barbell loaded, really high reps. We're going 25 reps. I tend to like to get a stretch at the bottom with my calf, just to encourage that full range of motion. Let's get it.
Pick it up, pick it up.
You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and a giddy up. Secure the back, yeah, I get the buffs. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I'm a real one, my day ones. Try speak up, can't say none. Try dig dirt, there ain't none. I make the money that save up. 10 to 80, my save ones. Take to the top on the base one. New car, race on. Fast lane, pace on. With the booyah, that's a
I'm only doing 2 sets of this one for the main purpose of it's a finishing movement, just a burnout movement, just to add a little bit of volume to the calves. Just do a couple sets, super high rep, get a pump in the calves, call it good.
pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and a giddy up.
And that is a wrap. Full lower body day. Again, today is more of a max effort day, so lower volume, less exercises to be done, but heavy loads, good form, working up a lot of volume and some explosive work. Normally, I would have somebody do abs on the tail end of their lower body day, but lately I've been programming them on my conditioning days, which we'll end up filming one of those eventually, but adding those core circuits, power presses, farmer's carry, hollow body holds, sit-up variations, Turkish get-ups, all kinds of functional core movements. I throw those on my aerobic days just as a way to finish those workouts because they're shorter workouts. Now I'm gonna get into a cool down, do some foam rolling, do some diaphragmatic breathing to kind of get my nervous system to calm down, bring up the parasympathetics so I can recover, manage stress and cortisol better. And then I'm gonna head home and eat a post-workout meal. If you guys want some workouts similar to this one, if you want an app that delivers those programs to you, if you want me with you at the gym basically, you can sign up for the Tailored Trainer. There's a link in the description of this video, or you can head to tailoredcoachingmethod.com/tailored-trainer. You can join for less than $2 a day and get unlimited access to all my programs and the training app. All right guys, I'll catch you next time.